Prevence Podcast.
Today's business world has drawn many benefits from the age of connectivity and digitalisation. It has enabled completely new business models that don't require office space. It has created company culture that is based on trust rather than control. But most importantly, it has made information accessible. The legal profession is no exception here, although some problems remain the same. As an example, there is a distribution problem. Countless potential clients go unrepresented because they cannot afford counsel at current rates, or there simply is no available representation. Companies and tools either already exist or are being created to correct this imbalance. Technology, process, project management, collaboration, and new delivery models are at the fingertips of future lawyers that can use them to refashion legal delivery. Okay, hi. First of all, welcome to all the listeners. And my name is Daniel, and this is the very first Prevence Podcast that we will be launching. And I'm very, very happy to introduce our first guest, the wonderful Madeleine Heuts. Hey, Madeleine, how are you?
Hello. I'm fine. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's just directly get into it. Madeleine, tell us a little bit about yourself, your academic background, and what you do at the moment.
Yes, thanks for the invitation. First, I'm very happy to be here and very honored to be the start of a new legal tech podcast. That's really, really cool. What do I do? My name is Madeleine. I am a Dutch girl, which now lives in Cologne. And I studied law until 2019. But I already started to found my startup Raketenstart, which is a German word which means something like rocket launch, which is probably a suitable name for what we do. I started to found the company in November 2018, and we do digitalisation of legal advice for startups. So yeah, that's in the short form what we do.
That sounds super interesting, but yeah, I'll just start off directly. You see, the thing is, how do I start my own legal startup that was never part of any course or any law course that I took, at least? How did you come to that idea, and how did you see there's a particular niche there, or generally, how did it come to this?
That's a good question, because there is no course where you can learn how to do that. And the problem is there is no course on becoming an entrepreneur either. So that's one of the biggest challenges I'm facing at the moment. I think I've always been a very IT-focused person, I guess.
Yeah.
I already worked at the IT department during my studies at the university. I've always been a social media and marketing manager for law firms to finance my studies. So I've always been really interested in that topic. But the concrete idea came when a friend of mine from school asked me in November 2018 if I could help him with some legal issues he had. He wanted to found a startup and had no money for a lawyer. So the typical situation, I guess, you don't have legal knowledge, but you need legal knowledge to found a company. But to get legal knowledge, you need money also, which you don't have. And if you have it, you need it to found the company too. So he asked me if I could help him. And I talked to my trademark professor at the moment, where I did some courses. And he helped me to do, for example, the trademark research for the startup. And that's when I noticed there was no solution for a founder to get into legal knowledge without having to pay a law firm for that. So that's how I got into it and just thought about how I could find a solution for that problem. So that's how we created Raketenstart.
Mm-hmm. Right. And on the way there, basically, did you have to, yes, you already told also about a couple of people that influenced you, but how old is Raketenstart now today?
The idea of Raketenstart is now 1.5 years, I guess.
Yeah.
We're not officially found as a company yet. So we're a team of 10 people at the moment, growing to 15 to 20 people, I guess, until the end of the year. And we're not founded yet because we're waiting for a fund from the state, which you only get when you are still at the idea stadium. So we pushed it a little back because it's a lot of money. And as everybody knows who wants to found a company, it's always cool to have some money you can plan with. And state money is always the best way. So we decided to wait for that.
And apart from all the legal knowledge that you, of course, have to run a business like yours, everything else, like the entrepreneurship or the business knowledge, that how did you get to acquire that? Did you just learn it? Was it learning by doing, or?
I guess the best thing how you can learn as an entrepreneur is to run against really, really hard walls really often.
Okay.
And then you learn how to get around those walls. That's at least my experience. The special thing about founding a startup is also that you start with an idea of a product and then realize over the months you are working on it that it totally changes. So where we are standing now is totally different to the idea I thought was the solution for the problem I just found out about. So yeah, that's probably it. And I mean, with our product, we're trying to make people learn stuff they need to get to become a good entrepreneur. So we are teaching them legal basics, for example, which makes it easier to found a company because we need those people to solve the problems of our society, which we have. Like we have Corona, which needs new medicine, but also new ways, for example, to register at a restaurant. So those are all chances for startups to find new solutions, but you need the knowledge you don't get in school or you don't get at university.
Absolutely. And in your team now, you said you were 10 to 15 people, or you're coming up to 10 to 15 people. How many lawyers do you have, or how many have the actual legal background?
At the moment, there is me and there are 2 other girls who do a lot of research. At our company, we don't. Maybe I should pitch our business model.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a short way. So we digitalize legal advice for startups, which means we have an online platform which is built in 3 stages. Stage 1 is the Raketenstart Academy, where we teach founders all the legal basics they need to know. There is like the basic package where you learn everything you need to know as a founder, and it doesn't depend on the product. And then we teach them the special things about their product, for example, food law, or for software, open source and stuff like that, what you have to look after there. And on the second stage, we have different software we develop where you can generate contracts and also check them. And on the third stage, we connect those founders for individual cases with lawyers where they can get the advice they really need for their company. So we have an all-round package, and we can solve a lot of problems founders have like that, I guess. Yeah. Back to your question, which I forgot.
So how many actual lawyers are working in a legal tech startup? Yeah.
So we're not doing the legal advice on our own. We only get the content from lawyers we partner up with, and then we put it into our product to make sure that the product is in a language everybody understands. We do a lot of content marketing, so we don't really need a big legal team, but we need people who understand how to put legal content into products everybody understands and can work with.
Yeah, cool. Wonderful. Yeah, that would also directly bring me to my next question, which is, what other skill sets do you think will the modern lawyer, people that are practicing law today, or people that are looking to start a legal tech startup need, apart from simply knowing the law nowadays? Does the legal profession require more than that today than it did, for example, 20 years ago?
I think if you can program, it will always be a win in your life. Yeah. I guess you will always make money. Yeah. Everybody's looking for developers, so that's probably a skill that you... I would have learned it when I could turn back time. So that's probably something which is really important. I think lawyers will need to change their way of thinking and working a lot. I think the legal industry is one of the last industries that doesn't put the customer in the center of attention. And digitalisation and the internet really changed the way people get access to stuff that they don't know on their own. So that is something which will change the industry in the next 5 years in a really, really big way. I mean, in every you can look at, for example, e-commerce. That everybody tries to put around everything around the customer. So he has to be happy. When you go to a law firm, the customer mostly doesn't even get what the lawyer says. So he can just hope that the lawyer does what is in his interest. But the lawyers don't really, at least that's my opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't have the feeling that customers from lawyers come back home and say, oh, I know what he did, and I think that is the right solution for my problem because I am able to say that. You really have to depend on the way the lawyer tells you what to do. And you only know if you had a good lawyer 10 years later when nothing happened. If something happened, that's the only way you can see if the lawyer did good work, because if he didn't, then it's too late. So you can't really do anything about it. And I think that's the last industry where it works that way. And I think that's really fascinating because the internet is changing that now. And there are a lot of legal tech startups who put the customer in the center of their business. And it's working. So law firms will have to be careful, because if they miss this timing, then there will be a lot of software who does what the customer feels is necessary. And then, people are starting to think in a different way. They want to see what they are paying for, and they want to have the feeling that they are heard. I wouldn't say that law firms don't do that at the moment, but when you have access to knowledge, then you can do a lot of stuff on your own. That's at least what we really truly believe in, that we should give the power to entrepreneurs, in our case, to do stuff they can do on their own, and then work together really closely with law firms and lawyers to solve the big problems.
Yeah, and I think that's the focal point at the end, that they actually work then with legal professionals, because I know it from my studies as well. Every time I had like a very difficult problem and I tried to Google it, without having an actual professional, you would have 10 different answers. So I think at the end, what you have is, when you have the focal point, is where you actually have a legal professional help you. That I think that is important, right? Is it, or do you mean, or would you rather say that just make as much information accessible as possible?
I think the field of law is really complicated in many ways.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be good to give people the feeling that they can do everything on their own.
Yeah.
There will always be lawyers who are needed, of course. It's like doctors also. In this week, I talked to a founder from MedTech. They developed a kind of, they call it Doctor via app, and it's for your skin. So if you have something at your skin and you're not sure what it is, you can just take a photo in the app, and then they have a doctor behind it who says, okay, that's this, you have to do that, and that's this, and you have to do that. And normally you would have to wait for an appointment 3 months, but because of the app, you can just, I think they need 24 hours to give you the first impression of what you should do. And you can even, in Germany we need, they call it Rezept. So you can go to get your medicine, for example, and you can even get that through the app in 24 hours. And they send it to the medicine store, and you can just pick up what you need. So that's really cool. And I think that's the same in the legal, where you still need the doctor, So
Absolutely.
you will still need the lawyer, but you get more easy access to it, and you get affordable access to it, because you can do things based on knowledge that you have access to. And then you can go further and say, okay, in this specific situation, I choose to get an expert to help me put something for my individual situation in place. And I think that's something which is really, really great, because I think the most important thing in Germany, for example, that we have is the laws, because they are a really fascinating system which has been thought of for years, but it is something that people don't really have a connection to anymore. You see it when there are elections, for example, which parties get voted. I think people feel left behind because they don't have the connection to the law anymore. That's really sad because we have a really great situation here. You could see it in Corona. They call it Kurzarbeit. That we have something here is a privilege you don't have everywhere in the world. And you need to get the people back on board with you. And I think legal tech is a really great opportunity to do that and to make people feel that they belong to this society and that it is a privilege to have a system of law the way we do.
Yeah. You mentioned the topic Corona. This is something I would like to come back now to. We talk a lot about office space nowadays because, once Corona hit us, everybody was forced to do remote work. But then all of a sudden, everyone noticed, hey, man, this is working and this is working great. And now, the buzz of home office is wearing off. My question for you would be, what do you think of the concept of office space? Now that we know that it works, is it really necessary, especially in the legal profession? Do we really need offices, and what are the pros and cons in your personal experience? I mean, especially against this backdrop here, we are now in a co-working space, and you have your own offices lined up. I know that, and I just want to know your 2 cents on the opinion.
I think the middle is always the best solution. So I think it's good if you have an office, because you can create a social atmosphere which can push your company to a next level. I've been spending my time in the last months where I had more time to read because there were no events, and I totally love to go to events, but if there are none, then I have time for something else. And I'm reading a book at the moment. It's called Tribal Leadership, how you can create a group dynamic for a company really getting into revolutionary products. And I think you need an atmosphere and a team which trust each other on a really, really high level, where nobody is afraid of talking about mistakes being made. And I think I noticed in Corona, it's really hard to create that kind of trust when you're not looking into each other's eyes, for example. So I think that human beings always are social people, and that it's important to bring people together, getting to know each other. I mean, we did a lot of remote events like drinking beer and virtual beer pong and stuff like that. But
That's
it's always different if you have to do it only the remote way. So for the law firms, I think that we should just think about our responsibility to our world we live in, and that we think about, is it really necessary to travel everywhere? Because it has an impact on our environment, and we need to think of solutions how to make this impact we are having at the moment smaller, so we can solve problems like gas emissions and stuff like that. And I don't think that it would be, I mean, there are companies I know which work remotely completely, which is fine. But I'm like a social person, and I love community, and I love the community of my team. So we would always have, I call it our base, where we can meet and be together. But I also created our company the way that everybody can work from where he wants if he likes to. I love to travel also, so it was one of my big goals that I don't have to be anywhere, but I can if I like to. And that's what we use our office for at the moment. We're trying to create in our new office a kind of ecosystem for startups in Cologne where everybody can come if he likes to and get connected. But I mean, everybody can work from anywhere. I think for law firms, it's really special because they didn't do remote work because they're really afraid of many stuff. And I think it's a system based on hierarchy really much. And the system wouldn't work if the people wouldn't have the environment where they feel like stressed and where they feel that they have to be better than the person next to them, which is something that I always thought of was really awful in most of the law firms, because people don't push each other to be the best version of themselves, but people put each other down to get to a higher position. I think that remote work and more trust in the work of the people and the possibility to have a life next to work will change a lot. I mean, people are not willing to work 20 hours a day anymore. Like you see when you talk to younger people that they are looking for jobs which give them more freedom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think remote work creates that kind of freedom and also efficiency, because when I go and try to take Deutsche Bahn, like the train, that costs me not only nerves but also a lot of time because it doesn't really work that well.
Absolutely.
And I would have worked 2 hours at home already. So that gives me more life quality. And that is something that will have to change also in the legal industry, because people are not willing to spend all their time working anymore. But we need more lawyers because there are more problems coming up. So that's a problem which has to be solved, and where people have to be open about it, because they will not get new and young people into their law firm anymore if they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, the one thing that is always brought, one of the arguments that is always brought forward for, let's say, companies that only do remote work is that, of course, you have very low overhead costs, and you can, and then, of course, that isn't reflected in the fees for the client. So basically, you have value-driven fees, and of course, what you also mentioned, that people just have more quality time for themselves, for their partners, for their families. And I also think, for example, Prevence is also a company that goes completely remote work, and it's working well for them as well. And I think it is definitely a business model that, especially now in the wake of Corona, will find more appreciation and also offers a lot of opportunities, like you just said.
I mean, what's fascinating about the law industry also is that it doesn't, it's not only important to have an office, but it has to be an office which looks like lots of money.
Exactly.
And you have to drive a car which looks like lots of money, because if you don't, you're a shitty lawyer because you can't afford a crazy car.
And how messed up is that? Because seriously, at the end of the day, what does it result? It's about image. And seriously, if oh my God, no, I need to go to a law firm that looks like they make big money. And of course, yes, if you have a great law firm and everything looks wonderful and expensive, it is an indicator that you offer pristine legal services. But seriously, that also stuff like, client orientation, employee engagement, those are also indicators for good legal services. You don't need to have an expensive car, or you don't need to have the office building that is, I don't know how much it costs in rent or lease. There are other ways how you can basically assert yourself. So yeah, I don't know do you think that's a typical law thing, like the thing
totally.
being flashy and everything? Yeah,
totally. I mean, I worked for law firms mostly as a marketing person. Yeah. But I talked to them about it, and most of them talked about it really open, and they were like, yeah, if I drive a shitty car, then my customers think that I don't do good work because I can't afford a good car, and then they don't come to me. So, but what's also something I've been thinking about, I had a really, really old car, and it didn't make it through the test anymore. But I really loved it because I bought it for 400 euros, and the wheels were working, which was the important part. Yeah. And now I'm thinking about a new car, and something a befriended lawyer said to me was like, yeah, but if you want to cooperate with big law firms, you have to have a great car, because they don't take you seriously if you come there in your 400 euro car, which has been hit by some other cars sometimes. It was not me, but if it's hit one time, then everybody else is like, they don't mind. So yeah, but he was like, yeah, you have to get a crazy car, because if it looks like that, then the law firms are gonna think your company is working really, really well, and then they want to team up with you. And I was like, that's so sad, isn't it? But it's the same in the system, how people get grades in the law field, because you always look on the numbers, and when somebody has the grade which everybody wants to have, which is like in the legal system 9 points, I guess, and upwards. They say, "Oh, that is a good lawyer."
Yeah.
But if you think about it, that's totally crazy too, because I always thought the people who were studying so much that they didn't really have a social life, they might know lots of law cases, but I think being a good lawyer is not only about knowing the law really well, but also like a psychological way that you can, that you have empathy for your customer and know what he wants and what is his problem and how he feels about it. And if you don't have the social skills, you will never be a good lawyer. And if you are not good in arguing for your place, then you're also not going to be a good lawyer. And that is something you don't learn by sitting in the library and studying so you have seen everything for the exam. I wouldn't say that everybody who has good grades is not a good lawyer, but I think that the whole system is not about finding out who somebody is as a person and what he can do. Like when I talk to other people who study with me, most of them say, "Yeah, and when are you going to do a normal job?" And I was like, "What?" Okay. Like what's not good about my job now?
Okay.
I mean, I now have a company with 10 employees, and they are still like, okay. And when are you going to work for real? Only because I decided to go into a different direction, which is crazy. But yeah, and that's like a way of thinking, which is really, really deeply in the legal industry, which will have to change, because if it doesn't change really fast, then they are going to lose a lot of customers and a lot of chances, because the society is moving forward so quickly. We've been talking about digitalization for 20 years now. And it's not about if we do digitalization, it's about how can we do it and how can we do it really, really fast, because we are so far behind.
For certain industries, how can we keep up with the digitalization?
And I've been to lots of legal conferences last year, and everybody was like, "Yeah, maybe we should do digitalization." I was like, are you still thinking that the internet is not going to make it? I don't know. So it's not about if, but how can we do it, and how can we, and that's my personal opinion, because I want to spend my lifetime like that. How can we create products to make the life of people and the life of our society better? And how can I use my abilities to do so? And that also means going with the time and going with digitalization and create products for things or for jobs which have been a pain in the ass until now. Like there are many people. We have like the data privacy, for example. When company A buys company B, you can't really just use the data. You always have to like black it out.
Right.
And there are people who do that full time. Just like putting black boxes in documents so you can't really see the data of people anymore. Why does a person have to do this by hand? And they still do that. So a friend of mine who studied physics, he started with, I think when he was 16, so he's a crazy guy. He was just like, "Oh, that's so easy. Why don't we do a software for that?" And he just programmed a software which does it automatically. So when you have 100,000 pages, which is a normal size for when company A buys company B, for example, then it does it. Normally you have like weeks where somebody puts the boxes with Adobe or what you use for it until now. And you just put it into his software, and after 3 minutes you get it. And that's so crazy. So we can also use it to make jobs you really don't want to do, like where you don't really need lawyers to do it. You can make these jobs done by software and create a better life for everybody involved. So
no, I especially like the part that you mentioned with the social component, because I mean, let's be honest, like if a good lawyer is competent and ethical, But a great lawyer also has social intelligence. And I mean, the social intelligence, that is just a component that you, as you just said, you don't learn it in a legal course. You don't learn it by spending 12 hours a day in the seminar, in the library, but you learn it by, going out with friends and actually being a human being. And I think that is a component that separates the good lawyers from the great lawyers. My next question would be, on your journey to where we're sitting today, is are there any noteworthy obstacles or experiences that you would want to inform potential future founders of?
I think that you should always look into the basic topics from the very beginning if you want to save a lot of money. So that's not only the typical legal stuff, but also the impacts of it on the general business. For example, when you choose a name, you can register your own trademark, but if there's also a free domain to use, you have to check that first, because you can't really, if you need to buy a domain which is already taken, you need a lot of money. So that's really a pain. Then is your name even a good choice for search engine optimization, for example? Right. Which is the next thing. I just talked to a friend about it today, because she has a food startup and she uses food in the name of the company. Tried to get Google AdWords on the word food for a food company. So because you pay cost per click and you don't want that because people searching for food. And if you want to place your food there, then they will go on there on your site, you pay, and then they say, oh, that's not what I'm looking for. And then they go. That's not good. So you have to think about all the different topics which work together and which are important in the whole overview you have to take. So that's really important. There are many topics that have an impact on the whole business. So you have to generate an overview for yourself of all the most important ones as quickly as possible if you don't want to burn all the money that you have and you don't have much in the beginning. So try to get the whole picture and then get all the knowledge you need. I noticed that in the last weeks when we grow from with the team, so we really grew really fast. So nobody teaches you in your legal studies how do you do recruiting?
Right,
what questions do you answer the people to find out if they are crazy people or if they suit into your vision of a team? Do they? Another topic which is really important for us is our mission. Do they want to work for your team because they believe in the mission, or do they want to earn money? Because a startup doesn't work if you have people who only want to earn money because there's no money in a startup in the beginning. So you have to create a vision for your team, and you have to make people believe in it so badly that they want to be part of this revolution. What we're doing for the legal industry with our product is a revolution, because we are changing the point of view on the customer, because we create access to law for everyone who wouldn't have this access without our product, because you would have a lot of money. You would have to have a lot of money to get all the legal advice from lawyers, which you don't have. So you just go and risk everything. And what we're doing is teaching people, how the law works so they can help themselves. And that is something which is totally new. Giving people help to help themselves in the legal industry is not how it works, because there are no billable hours you can take from that. Right. So that's really important. So you have to learn recruiting, you have to learn marketing, storytelling. It's the most important thing about a startup, because when you talk to somebody, you have to make this person believe that what you're doing is a good thing and that it will work, because you need money from investors, obviously. So we learned really fast that telling our story and why we do it, how we do it doesn't really, nobody is interested in that. It's okay if there's a good product, but people want to know why. Why are you doing this? And if you are able to tell the story that we do it always like that, we want to change a whole industry. We want to create access for every person who wants to have access to law. Then it's something totally different, because you get people on board really fast and really early. which you need to build a company we are trying to build.
Right. Cool. And from all the things that you were talking about search engine optimization, SEO. You also said that you have a background in marketing. How important and how exactly do you do it at Raketenstart? What influence does marketing have for your business? And is it? I mean, I know because you told me that you guys are also active on TikTok and everything. Is there? How would you describe the efficiency and how important do you think this aspect is, especially in the startup scene, but especially also for the legal business, which is by nature conservative?
Marketing for every company is the key to success.
Mm-hmm.
You can have an okay product, but if you have great marketing, everybody will buy it anyway. So I think it's something which is really, really important because you can use marketing to tell the story of you as a founder and why you decided to be paid really, really bad in the beginning, which normally has a reason. So you can tell your story, you can tell the story of your company, you can tell the story of your team, which produces your product. And that's like the most important thing to do, because you can have a great product which can change the world if nobody knows about it and nobody gets why it's existing, then it won't work. So I have, like, when we say I have a background in marketing, it's not like I studied marketing. I always had like a really good gut feeling, I think, about marketing. I don't know how you say it in English. There will probably be a better word for it. But in Germany, I would say like, yeah, maybe it's intuition, I guess.
So, gut feeling. Is it,
I think gut feeling is quite good. Yeah. Not butt feeling. That's okay also. But so if I look at our business now, which is funny because I only realized some weeks ago what we actually are doing with our business. And in the beginning, I thought, we're creating something so you don't need lawyers anymore. So then I realized we're creating something which takes away really shitty work from lawyers they don't want to do and don't get paid for. You have to realize that. And then in the end, I noticed that what we are doing specifically is content marketing for law firms. Because we create a universe for founders where they find legal help, which you need law firms for, because I can't write all the content on my own. I need people who are doing this job and have the experience to write this content for me, and I put it into products people understand. So I'm like a translator between law firms and entrepreneurs, which I am also, because we are a startup for startups, so they want to buy something from me because they know how the pain is to build a company, and I'm like on one level with them. They trust me really, really much. I have 20 mails each day where people ask me for my opinion or help in different questions. So we create a universe for founders where they find legal advice. So what we're doing as a vision is we are the first place somebody who wants to found a company goes to when he's looking for legal help. In the long term, probably when he's looking for help in any topic. So we create customers for law firms because you can teach them some legal basics and you can give them tools so they can help themselves. But in the end, you need the specified lawyer for your question to help you make the contract you generated and put it into your specific situation. So we are doing marketing for law firms, even if they don't get it yet. I needed a long time for it too. So, and we use social media. We use, the purest form of content marketing because we are writing a blog about legal topics. At the moment, we are writing the content, but in the long term, not only law firms but also professors and PhDs will give us their topics they are working with and thinking about to publish them at our platform so founders read it and can turn them into business ideas or can turn them into solutions for problems they found. And that is quite crazy because I never realized what we're doing. So that's why social media is so important for us, because it's our tunnel and our door to reach every entrepreneur in the whole country, because they are obviously selling their own products on social media. So we can reach them there really easy. One other thing I noticed about founders is, because it's such a big pain most of the time to be a founder. I mean, I really love it. It's fascinating how fast you learn, but it's a pain most of the time because you always have to overcome new struggles. It's really, really hard. I really love it. It really fulfills me, but it's really, really hard, and it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of hours and tears you need for it. So it's not easy, but every founder, maybe because of that, feels the need to tell everybody that he's a founder. So it's like vegans, like you didn't ask for it, but by the way, I founded my own startup. So
and you also do CrossFit.
Yeah. So that's probably the sickest combination of it. But that's something I realized, that founders always tell everybody that they are founders, and they show it in the internet. So there is no group of people you can track better than an entrepreneur on the internet, through LinkedIn, through Instagram. Everybody will say in its bio, I'm the founder of blah, blah, blah. So it's really easy to track them, and really easy to do advertising, like performance marketing and stuff. And because we are one of them, it's also really easy to make them believe in our product, because we are creating something that helps them fulfill their dreams and vision. So that's cool. And that's also why we discovered TikTok for us. I think for me, it's really important to show people that becoming an entrepreneur is a real alternative to classic job, like classic jobs you would take normally, also as a legal person, like
a judge or a lawyer
or judge or whatever.
Working at the city administration.
Yeah. And because I don't feel like I worked one day, since I'm doing what I really love, I want to give this opportunity and this view to other people. And this is also really easy through social media, because I let people be part of my daily life as a founder. I take them with me. I tell them about my learnings, mostly on LinkedIn, for example. I tell them about my success when we do a step forward. I also tell about the problems we have. Finding good people for your company and your team is like the biggest pain ever. But I also, they have the feeling that they come with us. So that's really cool. And that's why we have TikTok now, because I also want to show young people who go to school and we use this social media tool, that they can choose to be an entrepreneur and choose to be creative and do jobs they really like if they want to. And I want to show them what founding a startup is like. So that's a really good opportunity to get access to this young people, to maybe take the fear away from going into risk and from creating an own company. So I think believing in your dream is really important. And I think that the last years have been really hard for people to realize that it's never been possible to fulfill your dreams through the internet now. So now's the time to do your own stuff, and that's where we can use marketing and social media for. So that's really cool.
Awesome. I think we're also at the end of our time. I think I'll just want to end this with thank you so much, Madeleine, for taking time off your very, very busy schedule.
It's been a pleasure.
And a lot of respect. Congratulations on what you're doing right now, even though our friends from law school won't consider it a real job, as you just told us.
When are you going back to the real job? I don't know. When are you going to work for me to
Right. Yeah. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being a
Thank you for inviting me.
Wonderful. We hope we'll see you again at some point.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be too busy in the future.
You can always listen to my podcast if you like.
Very well. Yeah, exactly. You want to pitch the website?
If you want to get more information about what we're doing, you can find us on TikTok, obviously, on Raketenstart.de, but also that's the name of the website. So you can find us there. You can also find us on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you like. Or if you want to meet more interesting and really exciting founders, then listen to our podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Music. It's also called the Raketenstart Podcast. So that's
wonderful. Cool. Okay, then let's wrap it up.
Thank you very much.
Prevence Podcast.